embrace the challenge.
Better embrace the challenge. Embrace the challenge. No excuses.
Welcome back to another episode of the No Excuses, Embrace the Challenge motivational platform. I'm Lee Toldson, aka Coach T, and on side of me is my lovely wife, Stephanie Toldson, owner of Align Counseling Service. This space is for anyone who is looking for motivation. This is where a counselor and a coach come together to give you real life topics. Before we get into today's topic, I want to give a huge shout out to my childhood friend, T-Tyrant, for making us a fire intro for our platform. If you're looking for an intro for your platform, DM him on Instagram at _royal_tyrant, TYRANT. Now, let's get into today's topic. Today, we're going to be talking about how success is a daily walk. And from a coach's point of view, I want to talk about it. You know, a lot of people want the trophy, but not the process. A lot of people want to be great on game day, but true greatness and the path to success doesn't start during the game. It starts way before that. For example, going to the gym and getting extra shots up, going to the football field and getting extra workouts in when it's not mandatory, going to the baseball field or the softball field and getting extra hits when it's not mandatory, when you're in the weight room getting that extra rep when you're tired and you feel like quitting. Those are the steps that you have to take to be successful. For all my coaches that's listening, winning programs aren't built in one great season. It's built on what you demand and model every single day. Stephanie, one of my favorite players and coaches of all times is Deion Sanders. And he's a prime example of someone who models and demands what he expects every single day. Success doesn't just show up on game day. It shows up in the classroom. It shows up outside of school. It shows up in practice. It shows up in the off season. All the coaches who are listening, one thing I want you to remember, what you allow today is what the players are going to expect tomorrow. Success is a daily grind of holding them accountable even when it's uncomfortable. For all the players who are listening, success isn't one big moment. Success is all the steps that you take leading up to that big moment. No one wakes up and becomes successful overnight. You have to put in the work. You have to take the steps. Some steps are going in and getting extra reps in the weight room, going in and getting extra time working on your craft is a step. Making positive choices like your attitude, your effort is a step. When you stop taking those steps toward your goals is when you start to drift away from what you're trying to accomplish. So if you want a different outcome, you have to be willing to walk differently every day. Success is a daily walk, not a part-time walk. You know, Steph, I want to tell a quick story because my mom, she's an educator, and she used to always give me advice. Sometimes it was advice that I didn't really want to hear. But before I went off to college, she looked at me and she sat me down and she said, "How bad do you want to be successful?" I looked at her and I said, "I'll do whatever it takes to be successful." And she said, "You have to promise me some things." And I said, "What is that?" And she said, "Always help someone else out and be willing to make a difference." She said, "Never quit, never put money first." And I looked at her and I said, "Hey, that's easy. No problem." I said, "What do I have to do?" And she said, "All you have to do is just keep walking." And I kind of laughed and she said, "Why are you laughing?" And I said, "Because that's easy. That's the key to success." And she looked at me and said, "It's not going to be easy. It's about the steps that you take without quitting." She said, "There's going to be hills. There's going to be storms. You're going to face adversity. but you just have to keep walking. And I said, when do I start? And she said, you started when you were in middle school, when you first put your goals on my refrigerator. And at the time, I didn't get it. But as I walked away, I understood success depends on you, no one else. The day that you decide to stop walking toward your goals is when you're going to drift away from everything that you want to accomplish in life. And so that stuck with me. And it's something that I think about to this day. The takeaway that I want the listeners to understand is success is a daily walk, not a part-time walk. And Stephanie, that's how I view it. How do you view it as a counselor?
Like that, Lee. Thank you for giving examples of your mom, because she's amazing. So, and she has a lot of wisdom. So I can imagine all of those talks, even if you weren't ready, it was a seed that was planted at that time in your life. And now you have walked your own life of success in your own way and can understand what she was truly meaning. And I think it's personal examples honestly resonate with me. So I want to give a little personal example before I go into my own spiel. And I think back over the last 3 years of my life, having a baby, I think women will resonate with this. Like, I was in probably the best shape of my life when I ended up getting pregnant. And I thought I would be the type of person to work out, eat healthy, and have my crap together all through pregnancy. And that didn't happen. I had just started a business, so I was exhausted and just survival. I mean, things don't always go the way we think they're going to go. So I had to pivot and just reduce my expectations. I gained 50 pounds, so that was lovely. And I would say I had an expectation that I would just bounce back, and I didn't. So for about 3 years, I would kind of dip my toes into like trying to work out again, and I just wouldn't stick with it. I think a lot of just body shame and exhaustion. And honestly, just the mental, I wasn't quite ready to commit. So now here I am in a season of life. The last 3 months, I've finally have really honestly something shifted over the last, like I said, 3 months. And I can't quite tell what it was, but it was fine. It finally just dawned on me that nobody is going to do the work for me. So I had to make that inner commitment to myself, not only the physical, but also the mental and emotional commitment that I'm going to keep going. And I'm not perfect. Like, there are mornings that I cancel my workout. And luckily I'm going to a gym that holds me accountable and I get charged. So I don't like that part. So that drives me even more. But something I have found to help is also being around motivated people. So the people you surround yourself with are vital to your success, just as much as your own inner commitment is to your own success. But something that we all have to keep in mind too is that feelings are not facts. So we may wake up feeling unmotivated, and if we lean into that unmotivated feeling, our behavior will align with that emotion. So oftentimes emotions love emotions, and behaviors compound that feeling. So that's exactly what was happening to me for like 3 years. Just I was unmotivated. I didn't feel like going. So my behavior sabotaged a goal I actually tried to set for myself. And the more I did that, the worse I felt about myself. So that's where I decided to get my own crap together, because I have all the knowledge and I know all these things, but I wasn't practicing it in my daily life. So honestly, the first step is whatever your goal is, you got to be prepared for feelings to come up and learn to gain a little bit of resilience through emotional like garbage that's going to come up. Your negative thinking, you're going to have resistance, you're going to be unmotivated at times. Honestly, what you have to do is just act opposite of the emotions, because we influence our emotional state through our behavior. So it's literally the skill that it stands out to me. It's just act opposite of your emotional feeling when you are trying to drive towards something bigger, a bigger goal than maybe what those short-term feelings are in the moment, because that's exactly what feelings are. They are short-term. And I'm not talking about when you're in a season of life, say like grief and loss, or you're going through a really hard time. I'm just talking about in the day-to-day grind, because just like in our first episode, there are going to be seasons of life. Okay, so I'm referring to seasons of life when you can act opposite of your emotions and you don't need to step back from having goals and working towards the daily grind of some bigger, better goal in life. I'm referring to daily habit of acting opposite of a feeling so that you can continue to have success. And then once you can get that down and understand that your thoughts and your feelings are not reality, they are not facts, then you're going to start to build that confidence and start to work towards building mastery over the goals that you're setting for yourself. Because oftentimes self-sabotaging, like I said in my own personal example, I started to feel worse and worse about myself. I wasn't feeling good. So my behavior aligned with how I was feeling about myself. I wasn't acting opposite until more recently, and now I'm starting to come out of that and I'm starting to feel more confident. So it's it's like a step-by-step process. Again, I'm going to suggest over and over again, surround yourself with people who bring out the best and who do motivate you, because that is one of the key factors to success, not just yourself. And lastly, remembering nobody is coming to save you. That's a hard reality, but it's true. Nobody can make you put in the work but yourself.
I like that, Steph. As long as you have breath, you can take steps towards reaching your goals. If you like this episode, make sure that you like, follow, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, remember, no excuses, embrace the challenge.
No excuse, get your back off the ball. No excuse, and embrace the challenge. Embrace the challenge. Embrace the challenge. Embrace the challenge. You better embrace the challenge. Embrace the challenge. No excuses. Embrace the challenge. Embrace the challenge. Embrace the challenge. You better embrace the challenge. Embrace the challenge. No excuses.